Hi everybody. So I'm gonna be calling this video the truth about being adopted. So I'm just gonna get right into it. This is something that I don't really talk about. Um, yeah, I don't really talk about it. A lot of people don't know. But I just feel like it's something that should be talked about. It's something that should be talked about. So I'm gonna start with how I found out that I was adopted. Um, I actually found out when I was about 11 or 12. I was in the fifth grade, and it kind of came out with my family. I could tell it was something that they were keeping from me. Um, I could tell it was something that they were keeping from me. My siblings, they seemed to know about it before I did. I'm not sure if it was because they were older than me, so they just knew more, or what. But it basically came out one day, and when it did come out, I guess my family wanted to make me feel like I was still included in the family. So they did tell me that my mom told me that the woman that I had thought was my aunt all this time, she told me that that was actually my mom. So it was like I was adopted, but my aunt that I've been calling my aunt, she was actually my mom. So that was cool or whatever. I thought that was cool or whatever, but I would always ask my aunt, like, well, who was my dad, and things like that, because I had never met him. My real dad, of course. This was prior. Yeah, my real dad. I had a dad. This story is gonna be kind of hard to keep up with, but I had a dad and a mom who I thought was my mom and dad, but they weren't. I was actually adopted. My dad was white and my mom was black. I am mixed. I'm not 100% sure what I'm mixed with. I'm assuming I am white and black as well. So I did fit in with the family, since I'm mixed as well. So I never thought anything of it until it came out one day that I was adopted. But then once I found out I was adopted, I found out that my aunt was actually my mom. And she told me that my dad was a guy that she met in high school. It was like a high school sweetheart type thing. Well, me being a child, it's really hard to take that in, to accept the fact that I'm adopted. Like, it was 5 of us kids in total. So I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. And so it was 5 of us. And being a child, being 11 or 12, it was hard to accept. It was hard to cope with it. And so I acted out. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was lost. I felt confused. I felt like my mom and my dad, who I grown to know and love, I felt like wasn't really my mom and dad. I was hurt. I was a child, so you can only imagine how a child would take that information in. I had barely knew what adoption was. I remember seeing something on TV where this guy, he just like basically dropped the baby off at someone's front door, and I just remember, I think it was my brother, joking around, like he didn't mean any harm by it. We were all kids just playing or whatever, but he said, like, that's what happened to you. And I'm like, I really thought that's what happened. I was really confused. So anyway, time goes on. I have contact with my aunt all the time because she's actually my mom. So I contact her, I call her like once a week, just try to get close to her since I found out she was actually my mom. So that was that. That continued on for some years until I was about, I think I was about, I'm gonna say 13. I was about 13 when the truth actually came out that I was adopted and that my mom was actually someone I had never met before, or someone I had no memory of. I didn't know who she was. From what I had heard, she was on drugs. I also heard that she was a prostitute, and that she was a white woman. That's all that I ever knew about her. I didn't know anything else. I never had met her. I never, so I didn't have much to go by. But me being 13 years old and finding out now that my family had lied to me for the past year or two about the situation, saying one person was my mom. Now it's actually somebody I never met. It was a lot for me. It was really a lot. It was really a lot. But first I grew up with my mom and my dad, and that's what I thought was my mom and my dad. And then I found out, okay, I'm adopted. This person is my mom, and then they want to tell me, no, that's not actually your mom. Your mom is actually a white woman that was a prostitute and a crackhead, and she was on drugs, and she was in prison when she was pregnant with you. And this is all the stuff they were telling me, and I'm 13 years old at this time. I'm not even, I'm 13 years old, so I'm still taking it like hard at this point. Like it's messing with me to accept this, because I'm like, why me? Out of all of my brothers and sisters, why did it have to be me? And it just felt like the odds. It just felt like stuff was against me. I really did. I gave up in God, and I really gave up in God, and I held on to that hurt. I was so hurt, and I was so mad at my family that I held on to that hurt for years. For years I did. I held on to that. And I told myself, I'm never going to trust nobody again. I'm never going to take nobody's word. I'm never going to put nothing past nobody, not even family, because family don't mean nothing to me. And to this day, I'm 23 years old. Family don't mean nothing to me. It's all about who was there for me, who was in my corner, who was there when I needed something, who wasn't afraid to help me. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about who's your family, because to this day, I don't know my family. My mom ended up reaching out to me on Facebook. My real mom, she ended up reaching out to me on Facebook. I did end up meeting with her once I got older. I think the first time I met with her, I was about 19 or 18 or 19. I remember meeting up with her when I was pregnant with my son. And it was okay at first. When I first met up with her, it was okay. But then after a while, she started basically stalking me, her and her family. Her and her family started basically stalking me. She was mad. Her name was Stephanie. And Stephanie was mad because she couldn't accept the fact that I did not know her as my mother. She wanted me to call her my mom, and that's not something that I was comfortable doing. Close your door. That's not something that... Close your door, Jamari. That's not something that I was comfortable doing, because my whole life I had grew up calling someone else my mom. I didn't know this woman at this point, and I could tell that she was hurt, because she would always cry and things like that, but she would take it out on me that I did something wrong. And I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's you that, couldn't stay off the drugs or whatever it may have been that got me taken away from you. So it wasn't anything that I did, but she couldn't accept, she couldn't accept it. So I really wanted nothing to do with her after a while, because she was causing more harm than anything. She wasn't really And it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. You know, when you grow up not knowing who your real mom is, you always think like, oh, the day that I meet her, and I wonder if I look like her, and I wonder da da da, and oh, we're probably just alike, you know, as a child. But as you grow up, like, I'm content with who I've been calling my mom and my dad and my family, and that's what I've grown to be content with. Go, Jamari. Sorry, y'all, my son being bad. Close the door. That's what I had grown to be content with. So I wasn't really pressed to have this great relationship with her. I did try, but she was a little much. She acted crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if she was still on drugs, actually. So, and that, I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with that, so I didn't. To this day, she continues to have her family stalk me on social media. They will add me on Facebook, Instagram, anything they can just to try to see pictures of me or my son, and it's a lot. It's really a lot. And it was a lot growing up, just not knowing who you are, feeling like you don't know who you are, feeling like you don't know where you come from, and you see your brothers and sisters and you see where they come from, and you're not able to see where you come from. So yeah, it was tough. It's still, the whole situation, it made me not trust people, with the fact that my parents and my mom and my family lied to me. I was mad at even my brothers and sisters because I felt like they knew about it and they didn't tell me. You know, I was a child, so I did grow up with that hate in my heart for years. You know, for years, I basically didn't fuck with my family. Like, I didn't reach out, and especially when I got older, especially when I got older, I had actually moved away. I had moved out of the state, and I didn't reach out to my parents. I didn't reach out to my brothers or sisters. I didn't reach out to anyone because I didn't trust them. And a lot of people don't know this about me, and they don't realize this is the reason why I am the way I am about my son. A lot of people think that I'm over the top when it comes to my son and things like that, but y'all gotta think about it. Like, my son is all that I have. My son is all that I have. He's all that I know is mine. He's me. My blood is running through him. My blood is running through him. You know, it's a whole different kind of love when you don't even know where you come from and you don't even know your own parents. You know, that's something that my son will never, ever have to deal with. And I don't care how much me and his dad don't get along. I don't care about none of that. He gonna know his mom and he gonna know his dad. As much as I can help it. If I can help it, he gonna know who we are. But yeah, that's my little story time about being adopted, or how I found out I was adopted, how I coped with it. You still, even being a grown adult now, you still think about it sometimes, just wonder, you know, where you did come from. I wish my real mom actually wasn't so crazy and on drugs and stuff, because it would be nice to have a conversation with her and, you know, see where I actually have, you know, came from. I had low self-esteem about it, but I've learned to love myself, so that's all that matters. But I really hope that this video helps someone out there. I mean, I'm not sure if it will, but if you watch this video and it helped you, just leave me a like or something. But thank you guys for watching.